It's 10 a.m. on WKYT Midmorning. A Central Kentucky woman loses her home in a massive early morning fire. You'll hear from neighbors about the overnight ordeal that also involved some of them.
The standoff with a man who hijacked a Cairo-bound plane with Americans on board is over.
And the battle lines have been drawn over the state budget. An update on the deadlock in Frankfort as the 2016 state legislature is coming toward a close.
This is WKYT Midmorning.
Good morning to you, and it's so good to have you on WKYT as we get this day off and running on a sunny start to things. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. Sunny start right now, but boy, we really are in that spring pattern.
We are.
Change up and down.
The good thing is a couple of days of sunshine, though, before those changes come with the rain. Let's check in with Micah. He's over there in our First Alert Weather Center.
Yeah, and things are looking pretty good outside. A lot of sunshine today, tomorrow, a few more clouds, but it'll still be much warmer tomorrow. And then we hit Thursday, widespread rain in the forecast. There's live sky camera. There's your shot outside. And things are looking pretty good. Temperature-wise, it's still a little bit on the cool side of things. We're at 45 degrees in Lexington, Richmond at 45 degrees. And you can see across town that it's still cool, but it's getting better. We're going to get toward the afternoon today, near average at 58. It's not a bad feel. When you get 58 degrees under some sunny skies, that's a pretty good feel. But let me tell you this, once we hit tomorrow, we're talking 70 degrees. That's out ahead of our next system that will bring us showers and thunderstorms toward late midweek. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to show you when you can expect that coming up.
Thank you, and we'll see you then in the news. It was a massive fire that neighboring homes also risk having their homes catch fire as well. The good news this morning is that 2 people did manage to escape safely.
That fire started just before 3 o'clock this morning on Hawthorne Drive near Lone Oak Golf Course in Nicholasville. Flames were shooting out of the home when crews got there. The fire was so intense that at one point, firefighters had to get out of the home, fearing it could collapse. A next-door neighbor talked with a woman who lives in that home not long after it caught fire.
And she was watching a movie, and all of a sudden her nephew came out of the bedroom apparently and said, "I think you left the oven on or the stove on," and she went to check, and everything was fine. And so the next thing that they knew was that everything was engulfed in smoke and flames, and they just ran out as fast as they could and dialed 911.
Investigators are still trying to figure out how the fire started. Some tense moments overnight. Officials say an Egypt Air passenger jet with Americans on board was hijacked en route to Cairo.
Dozens of passengers were allowed to leave the plane once it finally landed on the island of Cyprus, but a handful of passengers and the flight crew were held hostage for hours. As Don Champion reports, officials do not think this was an act of terrorism.
A man jumped out a cockpit window. Others merely walked off the plane. The hijacking of Egypt Air Flight 181 ended in the same bizarre fashion it started overnight. Investigators say a man on board claimed he had a suicide belt, so the flight from the Egyptian coastal city of Alexandria to Cairo diverted to Cyprus. After most of the passengers were released, investigators revealed the hijacker took over the plane for personal reasons, possibly something dealing with an ex-wife.
We are dealing with it as a real threat because we cannot take any risk.
Security forces surrounded the plane as negotiations continued. The hijacker was eventually arrested more than 4 hours after the plane landed. Juan Zuarte is a CBS News senior national security consultant.
Certainly in Washington, you're going to have people scrambling to understand what this is about, what Americans may be at risk, and if this is part of some broader terrorist attack.
The hijacking comes 5 months after a Russian commercial jet was bombed in October over the Sinai Peninsula of Egypt, killing all 224 people on board. An affiliate group of ISIS later claimed responsibility. Don Champion, CBS News.
An Egyptian government spokesman says the hijacker initially wanted to fly to Istanbul, but the pilot said the plane didn't have enough fuel to get there.
A man shot by U.S. Capitol Police after authorities say he pulled a weapon at a security checkpoint is in critical condition. Police say 66-year-old Larry Dawson of Tennessee was also arrested in October after disrupting House proceedings by yelling he was, quote, a prophet of God. yesterday's shooting happened at the Capitol Visitor Center, and it led to a lockdown at the White House and the Capitol. A group from Madison Middle School in Richmond was inside the Capitol building at the time of yesterday's shooting. History teacher Amy Vanover says none of the students was hurt, but many were frightened by the experience. She says their group with dozens of tourists were taken into a secure room for about 40 minutes while police cleared the scene. They're returning to Kentucky this evening as scheduled.
Well, authorities have now released some new surveillance video, hoping that it helps them find a mystery man who may be connected to the terrorist attacks in Belgium. The man, who was wearing a dark hat and white coat, can be seen along with two of the suicide bombers who attacked the Brussels airport a week ago. Meanwhile, thousands of people turned out at a cathedral in Brussels for a vigil honoring those who died in the attacks. Some of the people injured were there.
We have to be together, and that's the only thing we can be.
Among those killed in the attacks, Lexington native Stephanie Schultz and her husband Justin, who was from Tennessee. Family members say Stephanie's parents are still in Brussels, but they are working to get back home to Lexington.
With just days left until the end of the 2016 General Assembly, some Kentucky lawmakers question whether they'll be able to agree on a state budget before their deadline. Lawmakers broke off budget talks shortly after 10 o'clock last night with plans to resume today. House and Senate leaders are clashing over funding for colleges and public pensions. Neither side appears willing to blink. And the top Democratic leader in the House warned of a stalemate that could lead to a partial shutdown of state government.
We have philosophical differences about key issues like funding education.
We believe that our approach is actually the right way to go for education by making these commitments to pensions.
The General Assembly ends in 2 weeks. If lawmakers don't pass a budget before April 15th, the governor would have to call a costly special session. Governor Bevin is addressing the media at this hour. What he has to say about this battle over the budget coming up on WKYT News at noon.
Well, Moorhead police are looking for the man who they say left a man for dead at a Rowan County hospital. The coroner told the Moorhead News that a black SUV showed up at the hospital early Easter Sunday morning. 2 nurses saw a man run from the car, and then they found 34-year-old Jonathan Likens of West Liberty unresponsive in the back seat. The paper says Likens was later pronounced dead. The search is continuing this mid-morning for an inmate who escaped from a transport van in southern Kentucky. State police say Ledford Hamilton and Ronald Gray were being moved from the Knox County Jail to the Leslie County Jail when they jumped out of an unsecured door in Clay County. Hamilton was arrested a short time later, but police say Gray, who is from Barberville, is still on the run.
A Lexington man is in jail accused of shooting at his mother with a submachine gun. Danny Tinsley was arrested yesterday at El Rodeo Western Wear on Alexandria Drive. Police say he fired about 6 rounds at his mother through a bedroom door. She told police that Tinsley has threatened to hurt her before. Tinsley will be arraigned this afternoon.
The Kentucky House has passed a bill that would allow bourbon distilleries in wet cities or counties to offer by-the-drink sales. The bill is designed to allow distilleries to sell more of their bourbon and offer up larger amounts of free samples. The bill had already passed the Senate, but the House made some changes to it, so it now has to go back over to the Senate before it can go on to the governor. Well, the Wolfe County Search and Rescue Team helps out more than lost hikers, it turns out, in the Red River Gorge.
On Monday, they rescued a dog. The team rappelled down a cliff to get to a Jack Russell Terrier that disappeared Sunday night. The dog's owner heard him barking but realized the dog had fallen into a ravine. The rescue team says the dog was cold but was not hurt.
So a good ending there, and a distinct barking sound of a Jack Russell, I guess,
right. Good to see
get your attention.
Yes, good to have a happy ending there. Be sure to keep it right here this mid-morning. One family says they are used to finding strange things on their land, but a simple little thing they found recently became much bigger.
Find out how a mystery that started 1,000 miles away got solved.
We have a really good looking day in store today. It's still on the cool side of things, but it really warms up as we head toward your day tomorrow. And then the rain, it's heavy rain on Thursday. We're going to talk all about that coming up.
And now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
That's absolutely beautiful outside. Now, I know it's still on the cooler side of things, but it is a really good feel once we step off into tomorrow. And then we head toward your day on Thursday, where things really change big time. So here's the look across town. Live sky camera shot. A lot of sunshine to be had today. And it's one of those days that, yeah, the temperatures are still right around average, which isn't all that bad. But if you had clouds overhead, it would be on the cooler side. If you didn't have clouds, and we don't outside, it feels pretty good. It really does. 45 degrees there in Lexington. And that goes for Richmond and Madison County. Work your way into Nicholasville, Frankfort. We all finished off in the 30s. Well, I say all of us. About 99% of us did. Down toward the southeast, there were some spots there in the lower 40s because you had cloud cover overhead overnight and into early this morning. 47 now in Monticello in Wayne County. Good morning to you guys. We hit the afternoon hours. We'll be right around 58 degrees. Some down south will be in the lower 60s, but all in all, this is a good day. This is really good because we're getting warmer. And when we get warmer, you know things are on the way. They're going to be changing as we track throughout the next 48 to 72 hours. Off into the evening, you're heading out to dinner. You'll be just fine. No problems whatsoever. Here's where the problems lie. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow's really nice. We're talking roughly 70 degrees tomorrow for everybody. Spring breakers, you guys trying to get the kids out and go here or there, trying to spend some outdoor activities and do that. Look, it's going to be perfect tomorrow. But I'll tell you this, don't camp out tomorrow night and into the following morning because things will change drastically in terms of things falling out of the sky. Watch this on Thursday. Thursday, it really increases the moisture. I mean, you're talking about an inch of rain during Thursday daylight. Then you get off into the night, and here comes the line of storms that will be rolling on through, and that will give us the opportunity to put down 1 to 2 inches of rain from Thursday during the day all the way through early Friday morning, and maybe even some spots, some isolated spots. Look at Danville and Richmond showing up. 2.5 inches. Yeah, maybe even some spots inching closer to 3 inches of rain. That is a lot of rain in the forecast. What we're going to be dealing with as we track off into that Thursday time frame is just that rain, not just rain, but also some gusty winds. Temperatures will start to take a dive as we head back towards your Friday and into your weekend. And that's where it gets, once again, cooler with those temperatures. So guys, all in all, this is a forecast that's very dry, which is good there for a lot of those spring breakers. But then it's a little bit on the cooler side. I will tell you this, if you're wanting to take advantage of one day, one particular day, it's tomorrow. We're roughly 70 degrees and we're staying dry. Because after that,
that's
it
the
gets
pick day.
soggy. Yeah, it gets very soggy. So there you go.
Yeah, Thursday especially, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, rain throughout most of that day. All right. Well, a family up in Ohio got an Easter Sunday surprise after making a special discovery.
April Pope and her family were taking their annual Easter walk around their family cemetery and found a balloon. It read, quote, "Hello, all the way from Cisco, Texas." She posted a picture of it online in hopes of finding the person who released it, and thanks to social media, she did. The girl who released the balloon is Avery Lewis, an 8th grade cheerleader who lives 950 miles away.
I was bored and wanted to ride on it and let it go and see if someone would find it.
Avery says she got the balloon from her family ahead of her varsity cheerleading tryouts, and she made the team.
All right, congratulations to her.
That's great.
And, you know, we've heard of accounts around here where somebody locally will release a balloon. It shows up in West Virginia or somewhere, so it happens. Atmosphere can carry it.
Making a long-distance friend that way. Well, there's a new yet familiar face on the country music scene, and exciting news for fans of carpool karaoke.
Suzanne Marquez with your eye on entertainment.
James Corden is headed to primetime to celebrate his first year as host of the CBS Late Late Show.
And you can tell everybody.
He's made his mark singing karaoke in cars with superstars, and tonight he'll get behind the wheel with singer and actress Jennifer Lopez for his Late Late Show Carpool Karaoke special.
I sat down with James Corden here at the CBS Hollywood studios to find out which karaoke matchups over the past year stand out the most.
So, you know, just Elton John to be singing those songs with him. I just feel lucky to do the show every night, really, is the truth.
The Late Late Show Carpool Karaoke special airs at 10, 9 Central on CBS.
Not enough whiskey in the world tonight.
Kiefer Sutherland is taking on a new role, country singer. The actor debuted his first song and video, Not Enough Whiskey. His first album is due out this summer, and he's scheduled to kick off a national tour next month. And NCIS director Andrew Travers made a cameo appearance on last night's NCIS Los Angeles show on CBS.
It's actually shooting on the range and doing a reload and other things like that.
The real NCIS agency has a close relationship with the show, but Travers says he doesn't plan to quit his day job. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Suzanne Marquez, CBS News, Hollywood.
Well, coming up here on Mid-Morning on WKYT, the sacrifice and service of Vietnam veterans is being celebrated today.
How you can help honor our veterans next on WKYT.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $43 million, and Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot is $116 million. We'll be right back on Mid-Morning. Welcome back, and it's so good to have you with us on Mid-Morning on WKYT. This is a day set aside to remember and honor our veterans who served in the Vietnam era.
To learn more about how the heroes of the Vietnam War are being honored, we're joined by Vietnam veteran Danny Jones and Dusty Stimes with the Lexington VA Medical Center. Thank you all both very much for coming in. An important day.
Yes, thank
We
you.
do appreciate it very much, and thank you, sir, for your service to our country, certainly. Why is March 29th marked as a special day?
One of the things that we did at the VA was we approached the mayor's office, and we asked him if he would please proclaim this day a Vietnam Veterans Day. We have celebrations for our World War II veterans, for our Korean veterans, for our most recently returning veterans. We wanted to make sure that our Vietnam veterans were remembered.
Danny, what does this day mean to you? How special is it to be remembered?
It's very special for us to be remembered due to the fact that when we come back from the war that we weren't very well accepted, and we had to struggle to get our identity put back due to the fact that the war to a lot of people was a useless war and didn't understand the war. So I had an opportunity to raise the flag this morning, and I got a little teary because we finally got our recognition of being honored to fight for our country, and it's just been very important that we are recognized today.
Is it meaningful to veterans that they hear that thank you and that they see that people respect what they do for our country?
Yes, sir, it is, because a long time ago we were just frowned on. Now if you go and I've got my hat on, they'll thank you for serving our country, and we're so proud of that, and it's just an honor to be recognized as a Vietnam veteran now.
Long overdue.
Yes, ma'am.
Certainly. You have a proclamation here and some special pins. Tell us about that.
This is the proclamation that the mayor presented to us at the VA. So March 29th is absolutely legit, and it's a great day. We want to invite anyone that has a Vietnam veteran in their family or a neighbor or a friend to please just take a moment today and say thank you, welcome home, thank you for your service.
It's a good thing to do.
Yes, and the other thing that we were able to do, my father also served during Vietnam. He was in the Navy, like Mr. Jones, for 16 years, and I was not able to pin this on my father because he died in 2007. But this very special commemorative pin, which has the blue and the stripes of the flag, it has the eagles right center. It's got the 6 stars for the 6 allies that fought alongside with the United States, and then of course the wreath, the laurel wreath, which stands for strength and victory. And I was able to pin it on Mr. Jones today, so that was a very, very special, meaningful event. Yes,
certainly.
And I appreciate that.
Well,
thank you, and we appreciate you.
Yes, thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much.
It's a very special day.
Well, keep it right here this mid-morning.
Going to check in with the Mr. Food Test Kitchen next, see what's cooking up here on your Tuesday.
We're so glad you're along with us today. With an abundance of frozen fruit always available at the markets, you can enjoy fruit cobbler recipes anytime you get that bug to bake.
Right there. And then today in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, it is strawberry rhubarb cobbler.
It's spring, and that means we're starting to see some pretty good buys on produce that we haven't seen in quite a while. Right now, the first of the season's asparagus is in, and is it ever looking good? And right next to it is something that you may not be as familiar with. It's rhubarb. And if you've never worked with it, are you ever missing out? All we do is trim it up like we would celery, but unlike celery, it has to be cooked. And because it's tart, it needs to be balanced with a bit of sweetness, either from sugar or by teaming it up with other fruits. Today, I'm combining it with strawberries to make a to-die-for cobbler. And just in case you get the hankering for rhubarb and you can't find it with all the other produce, rest assured you can always find it parboiled in the freezer aisle. So after combining it with some strawberries, butter, sugar, cornstarch, and a touch of vanilla, we finish it with a buttery crumb topping. After it bakes and gets all bubbly and the top is golden, it's ready to serve with some ice cream or whipped cream. So don't dilly-dally. Go online today and get the recipe for our strawberry rhubarb cobbler so you can take advantage of this best food buy. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a seasonal way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Yep.
Well, we're going to look toward the afternoon. A lot of sunshine, upper 50s, 70s, close to 70 tomorrow, and then rain for Thursday.
Well, we got it. All right. We'll be back for WKYT News at noon with a lot of updates, and we'll see you then.